Simply.
Hello, it is Thursday night. Welcome to Femme Forum. I'm your host, Chyrisse, and this is my guest, Bob, who is a regular. He's on all the time, every season, it seems. Bob is a geologist, and he's often on our show. And what is Femme Forum? It is a politically progressive talk show with a feminist edge. And you can be our actually, I'm the only woman here tonight, come to think of it.
You're in the minority tonight.
Yeah. We have Joaquin Pizuela running everything behind the scenes today. Tracy couldn't be here, so Joaquin Pizuela is holding down the fort with all the technical direction. And then we have Bob, and I'm like the token female.
Well, tonight, actually, maybe we're the token males.
I don't know. Well, this is a live show. It's a call-in show, and we usually talk about different current events and stuff. And to figure out what we're going to talk about, we will consult with the famous Femme Forum fortune teller. So, Bob, you get to pick a number here.
All right.
Pick a number, any number. Just
7.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, pick a number in there.
That one.
And we're going to talk about what?
It looks like we're talking about the president's news conference last night.
Okay, that seems like a good thing to talk about. What a joke that was. You want to start off, Bob? Or
Well,
what do you have to say about that man?
Well, you know, it's probably one of the most dangerous news conferences ever given. All of the veiled threats about things we are potentially going to do, I believe, to Iran.
Oh yeah, and Syria too,
and
right?
Syria, and it was interesting the way that in order to reduce our troop level, we are raising it. And I don't know if you saw Condoleezza Rice today.
They don't know how to do math too well, do they?
Condoleezza refused to call it an increase in troop strength. She had some funny name she used for it, but refused to call it an increase.
They're framing it in another way.
Yes.
Don't they always?
Even their right-wing buddies are starting to back away from them.
Yeah,
I noticed a significant number of congressmen and senators. Hagel was all over it. So anyhow.
Mm-hmm. Can you hear us? Mm-hmm. Good. Just making sure. Go ahead about Hagel.
Well, I was just commenting on what his little exchange with Condoleezza Rice, who has turned out to be one of the more disturbing people that is in the Bush administration. The administration has totally isolated itself with its policies, and
from the rest of the world. We're isolationists in a sense.
Not just the rest of the world, but from even the people in this country. Mm-hmm. I think that somewhere there's about 30% of the people that still support his policies, and I don't know who those people are, but
there was a poll that I read, an AP poll.
Mm-hmm.
70% of the people
mm-hmm.
of this republic
mm-hmm.
do not think that it's a good idea to increase troops. Yet he does whatever he damn well pleases.
Oh. Well, and he has several times in the past said how we didn't need more troops. Mm-hmm. We weren't going to increase troops. The whole bottom line, in my opinion, is that he stuck us in a situation we should have never been put in, and there is no way out. There's no graceful way out that is going to leave Iraq, the Middle East, in a better situation than it was in before we went in and invaded. And that's the great conundrum. In my opinion, to send more troops in when I think the writing is clearly on the wall. We are going to be leaving Iraq. We shouldn't be there to begin with, but we are going to be leaving.
He lied to us once. What makes people think that he's telling the truth now?
Well, I don't know that he knows what the truth is.
I don't think so either.
That's what I think.
Well, but just not long ago, he was saying how successful we were in Iraq.
Well, you know.
And now all of a sudden,
Well, it doesn't make any sense to lose another American life or take another Iraqi life if the end situation is going to be we're going to leave anyhow. And
that's true.
And
well, but the thing is, they're trying to build those military bases before we leave.
Well, who are they going to turn them over to? You know?
That's the good question, but that is what we're trying to do. They're trying to make a democracy, you know.
Well, if I recall correctly, when Bill Clinton, who was, in my opinion, one of the greater presidents we've had,
oh yeah,
when he intervened in Somalia, the Republicans jumped all over him, saying that we shouldn't be trying to build democracies throughout the world. So how interesting the tables have changed.
Big time.
I also read a little thing in the paper yesterday about the Republican Congress complaining that the Democrats weren't letting them in on making all the rules and setting the House agendas and all.
It's like that memo that they wrote, oh, please, we need to be bipartisan. All of a sudden, after how many years have gone by, they've been in power. Now please play nice, play fair.
Well, I think it took them 12 years to understand what that meant. And now they understand it, now that they don't have it.
Now that their backs are up against the wall. Hell, they were even complaining about Nancy Pelosi saying no smoking in the lobby.
Oh, I know.
You know, secondhand smoke is dangerous, and I think that's great. Why should they be there sitting there smoking and stuff? But the president he's a monarch. He's not taking Congress or the Senate into consideration.
Or the will of the American people.
There's, 800 signing statements he signed? You know what? It's like a parent. We need to go in there and take the car keys away from this man. He's had enough fun joyriding around. Now we need to take the keys away and punish him. Well, ground him for a while.
Last Friday it came out that one of his signing statements allowed him to have anybody's mail opened that he chose.
Yes.
And
he can take my junk mail.
Well, I wish he would, But to hell with the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. And he's tried to sell all of his stealing of our rights as things we needed to do to protect our rights
from terrorism.
And I think he's done more damage to the Bill of Rights and the Constitution than all the terrorist acts that have ever occurred against this nation. I actually believe that he's committed the highest forms of treason possible and should be held accountable.
Like Saddam was.
Yeah, well...
I mean, killing Saddam, and we were probably standing right there with the black mask.
Well, we delivered him.
That caused even more violence.
Sure. And it was done in such a
circus.
A circus way, exactly.
A circus. I was reading today, Wesley Clark was saying that he was, of course, against the war for some time, but the last 4 years has been basically like a distraction from getting Osama bin Laden and the real terrorists. It's been, like I said, a joyride. Now it's time to pull this man away and get this country back on its feet again. And get some respect. We've lost our allies. We have nobody.
Well, plus we're spending over $1 billion a day.
Oh, this war was supposed to pay for itself, wasn't it?
Well, that was right after the Iraqis greeted us with flowers and presents and gifts. But $1 billion a day. Think of all the things we don't have in this country that we need. Think of the schools,
hospitals, education,
and medicine,
drugs for elderly people.
We could fund all of that with just a portion of the money that we're spending in Iraq, and the bottom line is we will be coming home. I hope sooner rather than later, because I would like to see not another one of our brave young people over there
die in vain.
Because that's what it's for. Nothing will be accomplished. Actually,
they're dying for an Iraqi democracy, aren't they?
Well, what we've done is we've created an open, festering wound now in the Middle East, and the whole area is probably going to ignite at some point because of it.
Well, during the speech, too, I noticed all these veiled threats to skeptics and the Democrats.
Right.
Basically saying, well, there's going to be a lot of naysayers out there, and we're going to see a lot of bodies on TV during the next year. Well, we've been seeing bodies for 4 years, or maybe not seeing like we should, because they shield the public from what's really going on.
It's been very sanitized. It's extremely sanitized war effort, and anyhow, let's just hope that somehow our people in Congress will get the courage to do what it takes, if that means defunding the war, do whatever it takes to get our soldiers back home and to quit this craziness that we're doing over there. Too many good people on both sides, on all sides, have lost their lives. I read a thing on the numbers of people who died on an annual basis under Saddam Hussein's regime, and it was about a third of what's dying over there right now.
Wow. So we've put these people in peril.
Yes.
By this frivolous event, this Iraqi invasion and now Iraqi occupation, and that's what I've been calling it too. It is an occupation.
Well, that's what the Iraqis consider it to be too, and that's what the entire Muslim Middle East considers it to be, and it appears to be that to me also.
Yeah. That's the way it looks to me, unless you're listening to Glenn Beck. I was listening today in Schnitt, and they were saying, oh, yes, we agree with the president. We need to increase the troop levels. And over there right now, the soldiers have had their hands tied. This is the propaganda that they've been saying.
That's it.
That they haven't been able to go into various areas where the insurgents are hiding. And now we'll be able to go in there and weed them out.
And that's what it is. It's just a couple of those bad guys over there. They never bring up, why are we actually there? What got us there?
Why we're there?
Why did we go there? Were we threatened? Was anything that the Bush administration used as a reason to go to war, did any of that prove to be correct? And
well, he tried to even bring up 9/11 yesterday. There is no connection. And all they're going to do if we send 20,000 more troops over there is throw 20,000 more IEDs at these people.
That's right.
Instead of at each other, they'll say, oh, look, the Sunnis and Shia will say, let's start getting the Americans.
That's right.
It's ridiculous. So we invite you all to give us a call and see what you guys hear about, or what you think about this whole situation. Something else I wanted to bring up that was interesting. Of course, we've seen Inconvenient Truth, the Al Gore thing.
Yes.
There's been a lot of controversy around it showing it in schools.
Well, that's right, because under the Bush administration, the last thing we want is for the truth to be told in public schools, because we might raise a generation of kids who would go out and vote, and then those SOBs could never be in power again. So I understand why they wouldn't want that.
You see why they're trying to keep us in the dark here. It says here, this is out of Seattle. This week in Federal Way schools, it got a lot more inconvenient to show one of the top-grossing documentaries, An Inconvenient Truth. After parents who support the teaching of creationism and opposes sex education complained about the film, they put a moratorium. They didn't want to show it in the school anymore because a couple parents complained. And this one parent says that condoms don't belong in the school, and neither does Al Gore. He's not a school teacher. And also, this man believes that
But is he a condom? Is that what you're trying to say? I'm confused. Go ahead. I want to hear this.
The parent said that he believes the Earth is 14,000 years old, and that all of this global warming business is a controversy, and they should show the opposing side to the coin. What is the opposing side to global warming?
It's sticking your head in the sand. Or,
This is a funny thing. It said, according to them, according to their creationist viewpoint, the end of the world will not be a flood. It won't be due to global warming. It will be a fire.
Well, I'm glad that they're tuned into that.
That's the opposing view.
Well, you know, when the sun becomes a red giant, that kind of makes sense.
So the opposing view of the sea level rising and the flooding would be, no, the earth is going to burn up. That's the opposing view.
Well, you know, I used to not understand the creationist point of view and the people who didn't believe in evolution, but I think I do understand it now. I think the reason they don't believe in evolution is maybe they represent a subspecies of hominids, and they in fact haven't evolved in hundreds of thousands of years. And so maybe that's why. Maybe they're just neurologically incapable of the thought process.
The way the hard wiring is, it just hasn't evolved yet.
I think there may be something to that.
I can't believe this, though. You know, this whole controversy here, the movie is backed up by the American Meteorological Society. I know NOAA, Advancement of Science, the National Academy of Sciences, all sorts of well-established, esteemed scientists.
Well, it's not even a debate in scientific
It's
community.
not a debate. It's not up for debate.
There's no debate.
It's a fact.
It's a fact. It's just a fact. And, you know, I like to use this as an example. What if you went to the doctor for your checkup, okay? And the doctor said to you, he said, well, you know, I noticed that you eat a certain kind of food every day, and we think that could give you cancer over time. You know, we're pretty sure, but, you know, there might be someone out there that doesn't believe that's a physician, but 99.999% of us believe that this is going to give you cancer if you keep eating it. Would you say, well, you know, it's a theory. You know, everybody doesn't agree with it, so I'm going to go on and eat that food. You know, and that's what we're doing. And of course, the real reason for the denial of global warming is the United States is the biggest polluting nation on the earth, and the pollution primarily comes from our obsession with consumerism and from our big corporations who don't want to spend the money to produce clean products. Yeah. And that's the reality, and nobody wants to talk about it.
They're making science a political issue, and the only ones that are against global warming are the oil companies. ExxonMobil is spending a lot of money just to pump out propaganda to try to shed doubt on global warming. I mean, let's get real. They said this year could be a really bad hurricane year too. It's pretty warm.
Well, the year 2006, the data came in yesterday. It's the hottest year ever recorded in human history globally.
Wow.
2006. And before that, the hottest year ever recorded was, guess what? 2005. And before that, you know what the hottest year ever was?
They're all peaks.
2004. Gee, do you see a little trend here?
2003, 35,000 people died in Europe from the heat wave.
Right.
Which people in the United States, that was just, they don't even know about it. It was like a little blurb. 35,000 people is a lot of people.
The global warming thing is so serious, and in my opinion, we may have the ability to turn it around, but we apparently don't have the political will to do it. That'll be something that once we reach certain tipping points, we can't go back. We can't go back and fix it.
I think we're already at peak oil and a lot of different tipping points already. I mean, really. Well, we invite you all to give us a buzz and hear what you want to say about global warming or the Bush speech or whatever. We got the phone number up on the screen here, and give us a buzz. Oh, but it looks like the line is lighting up here. Let's see. Hello, you're on the air.
Hello?
Hi there, you're on the air.
Yeah, you pick a topic. What are your 3 topics you just named? You pick one of them. Whichever one you like.
Oh, you called up to speak with us. Go ahead.
I have opinions on all of them. I don't have time to share all of them. So you pick one.
Well, keep it brief, because there's lots of callers.
Okay.
Don't play games. What do you want to talk about?
Playing any games. How about George Bush, then?
Okay, go ahead. Did you watch the speech?
No, but were you just comparing George Bush to Hitler?
No, we didn't say that at all.
No, nobody
So
said
quit
that on
making
this
things
show.
up.
Something said like that on your screen, the text.
Oh, I don't know what's up on the text as far as that goes. Joaquin is running the board right now. I have no idea what's on the screen.
Well, then, Joaquin better get his shit together.
Well, I think you do, because I agree with him. I agree with him. You know, Hitler probably killed less people than Bush. Do you think all the Iraqis, they said, what, 600,000 Iraqis?
Well, if you consider the damage we're doing to the environment and the number of deaths that come off of that, it's certainly he's up there with the great war criminals.
Also, when the soldiers do come back, if they come back, they're going to have exposure to depleted uranium, which causes cancer, post-traumatic stress disorder. They're lucky if they have legs. I mean, Lord knows how they're going to come back.
And then they don't have VA benefits to take care of them very well. So
That's right.
Of course, the important thing to remember is that none of the people who really wanted this war, including the president and all the people in his cabinet, none of them have any children that are at risk. You know, they want everybody else's kids to put their lives on the lines, but not theirs, because, as Dick Cheney said so eloquently when asked why he didn't go to Vietnam, he said, well, he had more important things to do.
Oh, yes, he's just so busy. Yeah. Quail hunting.
Right. Right.
Let's take a call. Hello there, you're on the air.
Hi, doing there. I called originally to talk about the greenhouse effect.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I was going to change the subject because I didn't appreciate what you there said about Bush and comparing him to Hitler.
I don't know what's up on the screen, but you know what? I think there's some similarities to the regime.
No,
The way the regime rose.
no,
Hitler was democratically elected.
correct, but them there had nothing to do with that because he was them there targeting a specific religious group. Bush them there never did that.
What about the Muslims?
Good point.
He's not targeting Muslims. He would do anything to anybody.
I think there's a lot of people that are having their wires tapped. Think about all of us. We're all suspected terrorists.
No
They're
one of them
tapping
there
our
is.
phones. Now they can go through our mail, and they can do this. They're not supposed to do it without a court order, but they're doing it anyway.
Well, them there just think you're a prostitute.
Boy, a lot of right-wingers. They
Well.
can't handle the truth.
Just don't watch the 24 hours.
Yeah, you don't like the TV?
24 hours.
Don't watch it? Don't call.
700 club.
700. Joaquin says to watch the 700 Club. Yeah. Switch on over. Get saved. Hello there, you're on the air.
Hello, Chrissy. Hello, Bob.
Chyrisse.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
I just want to say that as far as about the Iraqi war, I didn't see the Bush speech because I really can't believe everything he says at this point.
Well, I never have.
I understand your feelings entirely.
And also, as far, there's probably a similarity between Vietnam and the Iraqi war.
Mm-hmm.
Once we pulled out, the South Vietnamese weren't willing to fight for democracy. And what if once, let's say, we train the Iraqi police and soldiers and all that.
I've been doing it for 4 years, supposedly.
Yes. And, I mean, will they be willing to fight for democracy like, you know what I'm saying, like we're doing now? We're dying.
They don't want a democracy.
You know, it's really up to them. They should have whatever it is they want, and our fear of a civil war. This country had to go through a civil war to figure out what its direction was, and I hate the idea that maybe people are going to be harmed. I don't know what's really going to happen there, but ultimately it's up to the Iraqi people to decide what they want to do with their country. We can't make that decision for them.
Vietnam didn't fall apart, did it?
No, actually,
They
Vietnam,
did they have genocide there? I mean,
they didn't, and we actually have a pretty good
Cambodia.
relationship with Vietnam now. So anyhow, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay. I just wanted to bring up that point there, but like you said, I heard there. Well, as far as now, we're trillions of dollars in debt
Yes.
to Japan and China.
Right.
Our Social Security after a certain date, people born after a certain date, there's a Social Security now deficit. So you might say Social Security is almost bankrupt now.
Well, I wouldn't put it that far.
But it could get there, and someday in the future.
Well, they're borrowing from it.
There's probably a deficit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. I would like to see them, if they're going to train them quickly, and
Had
basically
4 years to do that, like I said.
Yeah.
What were they doing all this time?
and basically, if the Iraqis really want democracy, let the Iraqis fight and die for their democracy if they want it.
It's
You're
the only
right.
thing. It's the only way it'll have meaning
You're
to
right.
them. Nobody can give you something. I mean,
That's right.
remember when you were a young kid and maybe your parents. I didn't have this happen, but it was one thing to work for a car, and it was another thing to have one given
handed
to you.
I know. It means more when you work for it. That's true.
So just like in your personal life, nobody can decide for you what you should do and then push you real hard and hope it'll magically happen.
There's socialist countries, there's communist countries, there's monarchies. They may not want a democracy.
They may not. Their whole culture for thousands of years hasn't had democracies.
That's right.
They've had a different way of doing their governments, and I don't know whether it's right or wrong for them. It really isn't my concern.
Exactly.
Right.
Come home.
Okay.
Well, thank you for calling.
Thank you, and I always enjoy your show. Have a
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's take another call. Hello there. You're on the air.
Oh, hi. This is a great show. I don't like George Bush, but I don't think he has a choice. That is, I think he has to do, and he has to go wherever the people who control him tell him to go. For example, they're presently telling him to, perhaps they're telling him to go into Iran, and he has no choice. If he doesn't do that, if he pulled back the troops, if all the troops came home and said, here we are, then there would be another 9/11 orchestrated by the Israeli Mossad, and they would make it look as if the Muslims did it. So we have no choice. We have to do, in Jimmy Carter's book, Palestine, Peace, Not Apartheid, he says, and they called him anti-Semitic because he broke the news. The Europeans know it. He says that the Israeli government has a stranglehold on America's finances, on its Washington politics, on its military, and that indicates to me that George Bush has to do wherever the Israelis kick him.
Well, we pretty much have given them what I call unconditional love.
Well,
It's not good for diplomacy.
Israel gets more than half of all of our
Can you turn
dollars
your
that we
TV
send
down?
out to foreign aid.
There's like a ringing noise.
Yeah, it's a worrisome business. I was a political activist for a long time. I started out as a right-wing extremist, and now I'm becoming now at the age of 60, I'm tending more toward left-wing extremism. Not because it's more accurate, but because just as a change of pace.
Well, more
you
power
like
to you.
Swing back and forth. Then okay.
Yes, sir. I learn a lot from the left wing, and I think extremism is real good because what the extremists do is they simply carry things to their logical conclusions, and all of these weird scenarios are determined by the extremists. And whatever extremist minority wins.
I hate to say, most intellectuals are on the left, not on the right, too. If you look at intellectuals in history.
I think that's true. I think that's very true.
So once you get enlightened or you get educated, read a lot, whatever, you're going to see that liberalism is the way.
Yeah, in this present circumstance, I equate, perhaps not George Bush, but the next president, Hillary or whoever it is. I equate
Hillary.
I equate that president with Tsar Nicholas of Russia during the Revolution, because I think what George Bush has initiated, I think it's the beginning of the end.
Well, it may be. There are many people that hold similar views.
Yeah, well, I'm a Swedenborgian, I'm a Christian Buddhist, and so I believe that when all the smoke is cleared for all the pleasant people like yourselves, it's got a happy ending. So I'm a big.
It's looking pretty bleak right now.
I'm gonna bid you a good night, and
Good evening too.
that's all right.
Thank you, sir. Keep watching. Wow. Yeah, when you think about the right-wingers, they're the ones usually that listen to Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck, and I don't even think Rush Limbaugh even finished high school.
I'm trying to think of...
These aren't intellectuals that are out there spewing their hate on the radio.
Rather than just trying to bash right-wingers, which I certainly enjoy doing...
Go for it. We're allowed to here.
But I realize that. But I was really trying to think of right-wing philosophers or right-wingers that have won the Nobel Prize or the Nobel Peace Prize or the Nobel Prize in chemistry or medicine or any of those things. And I mean, there probably is such a person out there, but I can't think of a single one.
Either.
I think of great books, great literature, great plays, things like that.
Anything in the arts and sciences.
And I can't think of anybody who could be considered a strong right-wing thinker that really rose to any level of significance.
And what's ironic is a lot of the right-wingers are strongly evangelical, and if Jesus were to live here today, he probably would be a socialist, I would think.
Well,
he would not be a capitalist, and that's what this country is. I think he'd be a socialist or something to that effect.
Well, it would appear if you...
He wouldn't be driving a Hummer.
No, not at all.
He probably would be riding a bicycle.
Or walking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he would be helping the homeless and helping the needy, and he wouldn't be there, trying to condemn them. I guess there's in St. Pete. Have you heard about Tent City?
Yes, I have.
I guess the mayor is trying to get rid of a bunch. Well, I guess it's private land where there's a bunch of homeless people living in tents, and the mayor doesn't like the looks of it or whatever, so he wants to get rid of it. And these people have no place to go.
That's his solution isn't to address the problems of the homeless. His solution is to get
I don't want to look at it. It's ugly. I don't want to look at it.
It's hurting property values, and it's part of the disease that's wrong in this country. Politics is part of the disease that's wrong in this country. For the most part, I think a number of people that are politicians because they couldn't get a real job. There are some good people in politics, but there sure are an awful lot of bad ones.
That is true. But when you think about it, it seems the ones that go to the extreme right are warmongers, and they're all for capital punishment. All the things that's against what Jesus said.
Well, and they're warmongers.
Whom they worship, right?
But they never volunteer to go in the wars.
No, they want the poor to do it, the vulnerable.
And they're strong into people spending jail time for offenses, unless they're like Rush Limbaugh and they get caught. Then it's not. Well, that's not for us.
Yes. It's total hypocrisy.
Yes, that's the issue. It's hypocrisy.
Let's take a call. Hello there. You're on the air.
Hi. I think we have to find a new way to describe the right and the left.
Turn down your TV, please.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. We just could hear you better. That's all.
There's feedback.
I realize that. That was the last person.
I can hear you really well now.
That's good.
What I was saying was that I think we need to find a new way to describe the right and the left.
Okay.
How's that?
Well, I don't know exactly, but the right is not correct, and the left is not wrong.
Right.
I think it's ironic that people describe themselves as conservatives when they're really radical right-wing.
Very, very true.
True conservatism, my grandparents were conservatives, and that meant you mind your own business. You don't get in other people's business and tell them what to do and bother them.
And fiscally conservative. This administration is spending money like crazy.
You know, and you're right. It's just part of the hypocrisy. The use of the parties. The parties will use terms to describe themselves that it's obscene, because that's not how they are at all. And I agree with you. People that are conservative, it's not about telling other people how to lead their lives or sticking their nose in somebody else's business. It's about taking care of your own and taking care of yourself and your family, etc. Would you agree?
Like the Quakers. Do they go around telling people what to do?
Right.
I think what we need to do is work on some new speak in that regard. I think it's funny how, we have this misspeak. For instance, they call the jail the center of justice, and it's a jail, okay? It's not necessarily justice.
There's not much about justice in a jail.
There's not much rehab going on.
If you're poor, you get to go. If you have the money for an attorney, you don't have to go. I don't understand the justice part. I mean, there are people who commit crimes that need to be in jail. Don't misunderstand me.
Yeah, but when people run over kids and don't go to jail because they have a fancy attorney.
Well, you were talking about Jesus being a socialist, for instance.
He would have been if he were here today. He would be for the people.
I think it's so ironic that when the 9/11 tragedy happened with the World Trade Center, that some of the most religious, populist, Pat Roberts, Jerry Falwell, they came out and tried to blame, things like homosexuality and gay marriage and things like that. They never addressed their own greed, and I mean, you can go down the list of these, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with somebody being spiritual. That's a great...
Yeah, we're not saying that either.
Hypocrisy of, the Catholic Church was the largest real estate owner. I don't know if they still are or not. The pedophilia that goes on in the...
Right, right.
Catholic Church was tight with Hitler, since we were talking about Hitler.
Actually, the Pope was. He refused to do anyhow. But go ahead. You're on a train of thought. Please continue.
Oh, I was just going to cite more names like Jim Swaggart, Jim Baker, and just go down the list of the hypocrisy of the religious right. And they didn't cite any of that 9/11 happening.
No, you're absolutely right. It's all a big smokescreen that they put out, and
they're in it for the money.
I do think that we are not going to solve the Middle East problems until we solve our foreign policy, which means we're going to have to look in the mirror at our own greed.
I couldn't agree with you more, and we're going to have to wean ourselves from oil. If we didn't have the world's biggest thirst for oil, the Middle East would not be a problem for us right now at all.
Well, it can be done now with green power, between growing soy and corn and wind power and water power and carbon fiber composite bodies, electric cars. We can get off oil, and we could burst our economy. I mean, it would be so good if we would take that direction and do that. And the billions that we're spending on bullets and war could save the world.
Yeah.
Well, and we need to quit training our children from an early age to become massive consumers and to feel that they need to have all these things that we don't really need to just contribute to the degradation of the Earth's environment.
They feel their identity is what they own. And I am what I own.
And it transfers into adulthood. Look at the people driving Humvees. How more obscene could anything be in a world that is facing a CO2 crisis and an oil depletion crisis, and there's air pollution, there's global warming, and people are buying things like that. And we need to do a better job of helping, of educating people so they won't make those kinds of decisions. That's what I think. How do you feel about that?
That should be the job of our religious people, I would think. But they're all about the bling themselves.
Well, I know. So
they're more worried about the fetus or something than the immorality of global warming. It's moral not to conserve.
President Bush promised to veto the stem cell research bill, but yet here he's sending 20,000 plus more men into harm's way.
Right.
Hypocrisy. You're right.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your show.
Thank
Well,
you.
we enjoy your comments.
All right. Bye-bye. That was a good call.
Yeah, very good call.
Let's take another one. Hello there, you're on the air.
1 second.
Hi. Yeah, turn your TV down.
Yeah, I'm turning it down.
Okay, thank
Great.
you.
First of all, I own an H2 and I love it.
Do you? Okay. What do you, go ahead. I'm
What kind of
curious, so
mileage
go ahead.
do you get? What kind of mileage? 18 miles to the gallon? 15?
5 miles to the gallon. I love playing board games.
Oh, yes.
That's
Well,
as if
anyhow.
he really owns one. Yeah, right.
He was being fed answers in the background. That's all
I
right.
could hear that. I could
That's
hear
all right.
that.
I mean, it's you know,
Well, they
at
need
some
to
point
quit making them too.
we need to
I
quit making
blame
them.
Detroit
Right.
on a lot. Of course, Detroit's in bed with the oil companies.
Okay, and all of the big multinational
Mm-hmm.
corporations, they all sleep together.
Exactly. I mean, in other countries, they're making very fuel-efficient cars. They're making hydrogen-run automobiles, buses, whatever.
Is it Venezuela or Brazil that 60% or 70%
ethanol.
of their fuel is
Brazil.
ethanol?
Brazil.
Yep. Let's
Yeah.
take a call here. Hello there, you're on the air.
What is this show about?
Okay, I'm going to cut you because don't just call when you see a number on the screen. Watch the show and then call. You know, we get kids sometimes.
Well,
so.
that's all right.
But ethanol is not the answer in this country. And I'm afraid in Brazil they're going to cut down rainforests just to grow the sugar cane to do that. Hello there.
I think President Bush should just take...
Okay, it's the same kid again.
Yeah.
Same kid again. Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Well, he gets an A
man.
for persistence.
Yeah, there was something I wanted to talk about. It was real interesting. It was in the Nation magazine,
Mm-hmm.
and it talks about class. And let me read this here. But how do you know where you fit in the class system? Is it a level of income? Is it defined by education or the kind of job you possess? Is class a function of your relationship to your labor? For instance, are you in the middle class because you own your own business? Or are we defined by our rung on the ladder? How do you, and this brought up a point, how do we know what class we're in? I don't know. There's this whole article about this. I mean, do you raise your class if you get educated, or you're rich? You know, I don't know. What do you think about that, Bob?
I think maybe
How do you
maybe it would
define
be
this?
best if we got rid of the concept of class.
Compartmentalizing people into
Yes. I think maybe that would be the healthiest answer of all.
because
Of
it's
course,
labeling. It's like high school.
Well,
But that's how we're run.
it-
There's prejudice against
Sure there is.
people by class, and how do you know what class you're in? I don't know.
I was in first grade once, but I would have to guess in this country
Money they
class
go by.
is directly related to money. Sure, not
But
what
then you may
do.
not have character. That's the thing. I mean, maybe you have a lot of money, but you act trashy. You don't have character.
Well, I don't think character gets rewarded.
Is
in
it
this
part of
country.
class too? I don't know. This was something I thought I would just throw out there.
What's the old
to
joke?
people.
You have a lot of class. Too bad it's all tourist. You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you define that, and
Yeah.
it's probably defined differently by different people in different parts of the country,
Yeah,
or
that's what
different
I was
neighborhoods, and
wondering.
everything else.
'Cause, I don't know what the answer is. I thought it was something to throw out there and look at because, you know, I think most everybody that I talk to thinks and says they're middle class. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if someone is perhaps
That's a very middle class answer.
yeah, I guess.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if someone is really hard up financially, on welfare maybe, I don't know, or in prison, would they be low? I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know what the answer is because it would have to depend on what the importance of being of a class system even is to you as an individual, and is it useful? Is it valuable? Is it important?
Well, and also someone may have a lot of education, but they don't make any money. Are they low class then? Is it go strictly by money? I don't know.
No, that just their parents are very disappointed.
Yeah, well, certain fields don't pay well. That's the problem. But I just was wondering what people out there thought too, because I was reading this in the Nation and it was blowing my mind because I don't know what signifies it. So let's take a call. Hello there, you're on the air.
Hi, Chyrisse. Did anyone ever tell you you look like a retarded?
Another same boys. Hello there, you're on the air.
Hi, am I there?
Yes.
All right. Well,
okay.
it was a brief,
Very brief.
Very brief.
Very brief, and yeah, I got you. Hello there.
Hey.
Hi, Kim. You gonna save us?
Have you? You guys probably were working today, but did you see any of the hearings that were going on all day with on C-SPAN today?
No.
Was that with Condoleezza Rice?
Oh yeah, all the senators one by one addressing Condoleezza and responding to our president's speech last night, and I'll tell you, every single one of them is hammering her.
Well, I saw
getting hammered
in both parties.
I saw pieces of Keith Olbermann. They were showing different people saying it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Unbelievable.
Somebody saying.
I mean, not personally. They're not going after her. They're just saying. They're just expressing how unhappy the American people are and questioning the plan. And do you really think this is going to work? And why do you think more troops are going to actually keep these people from killing each other? And
didn't she have?
Just watch it later. I'm sure they'll repeat it all night. It'll be on C-SPAN.
Didn't she have some funny term? She refused to say that it was an increase in troops and that we were expanding we were spending more money and sending more troops in. It was kind of like the old Vietnam era doublespeak. She said something. Do you recall what that was?
Yeah, it was something like that.
It
wasn't about expanding or escalation. It was the question of escalation.
It wasn't an escalation.
Not escalating. We are going into support to keep these people from killing each other.
So what was your general take on the entire...
Well, I'm kind of going back and forth between your show and them, so...
Okay.
Missing part of you and missing part of them.
Okay.
I'm not going to be able to tell you other than bits and pieces, but I'm sure that they'll be repeating it all night.
Okay.
And if you tune in after you leave here, you could probably catch the 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning version.
Okay.
Kim, let me ask you something. Would you like to come on the show?
I don't know, maybe.
I'm serious.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
My neighbors may shoot me after I come home.
I mean,
I'm just a
was
place.
thinking,
I'll back
why
in
don't
face then.
I need a guest next week. Would you like to come on next week?
I don't know. Why don't you call me after the show and we'll talk about it? As opposed to talking about it right now.
Okay. Better yet, could you email me? Because after the show, I've got to run home. I've got to get up at 6 in the morning.
Yeah, or just call me whenever you get a chance.
Okay.
You don't have to call me after the show. Yeah.
I think I have your phone number in the book bag, but that's why I was hoping you'd email me.
You want me just to call you right after the show and make sure you have it?
Okay.
Okay.
We'll have to keep it brief, though.
That's fine.
I gotta get going, but yeah, I would love to have you on next week.
Okay.
I'd love to meet you.
There you go.
She's been calling for a long time. And I've never met her.
Yeah.
Well, this might be a great opportunity.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So anyway, back to the C-SPAN thing. I really do. It's good that they're actually focusing on the fact that American people are not agreeing with this. So it's nice that that's coming out.
Well,
so it'll be interesting to see how they continue to deny that we don't want this to continue.
Yeah.
It's an interesting process that the President of the United States can stand up and just continue to do whatever he chooses to do when the people are against his policies, and even his own party is now against his policies.
Right, and a lot of these senators, the Republicans are sitting up and asking these really drilling questions, which was just very enlightening. And then they brought up the lack or questioning the support from other allies, from the other countries. And they were listing, are the Are these people adding more troops? Are these people adding more troops? Going down the list.
It's the coalition of the bribed.
Yeah. The coalition of the unwilling.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to go so other people can call because you only have another, 7 minutes?
Well, hey, thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I'll call you right after. I think I have your phone number in my bag here. If not, you call right after the show.
I'll call right at the end of the show.
I'd like to meet you.
Okay. We'll put that on the list.
Yeah, put it on things to do next week. So.
Right.
Okay, bye, Kim. No, she calls a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I can tell
she's a regular, so I thought she might as well be a guest.
Yes.
That'd be cool. We'd have you in the air. Tracy can meet you too. Let's take another call. Hello there.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Hi. Y'all are talking about the middle class and the classes.
What do you make? How do you label a class? I don't know.
I agree with you 100%. Like myself, I am what I am, but I'm putting my children through college, and they're going through college for example, my son will be finishing up his degree in writing, and my daughter, she's in the science areas, and you know, I don't believe there is a class. I just believe that there is what they are. You know, and
we'd all be a lot better off if everyone thought that way.
If we didn't have a label like that, because some people
I'd hate
better. That's the thing. Some people think they have this hoity-toity attitude.
Right. I believe that success is, if you do what you love, success will follow.
Yeah, because a lot of things don't pay well, but you may be a successful, let's say, musician or artist, and you make fantastic creations, but you make not that much.
Or it makes you happy in your life, that is the bottom line. And
right, exactly. I went the direction that my parents forced me to go.
Oh,
yeah, I'm retired military, Iraqi vet, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, wow.
Well, right. Well, you were over there in the first Desert Storm, or?
Actually, I've been in everything since Vietnam, but
wow.
You've seen a lot.
Well, but that's not the direction that my children wanted to go, and I'm not forcing them to go that way. And my son wants to be a writer, and he may not make $1 million doing it, or but whatever. But you know what?
Happiness is doing what you want to do, I guess.
And that is success.
Yeah.
And that's the way I feel.
Well, I agree with you.
Yeah, because I was reading this article in The Nation, which I love this magazine, and it just made me think about it. I don't know how people consider class.
A class is just a label. Like Campbell's soup.
It is.
But it's also behavior, though, because sometimes when we'll see people, we'll say, oh, they're so low class, usually because they act trashy, right? Or they talk trashy.
I'd be more suspicious of the people who would say that, though.
I don't know, but that's why I'm thinking it's connected to character, too.
Right.
Morality, maybe?
You hit it right on the nail, character.
And money isn't attached to character, because you can be, maybe you are low income, but you are completely ethical and moral and this and that. But then you can be a millionaire, but you screw people every day. You're greedy, and so maybe that's the key.
And there's been more than one millionaire that's committed suicide.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, let's look at Kurt Cobain.
That's
32 million, and well, the rest of the story.
Yeah, depression and the whole deal. Well, and Marilyn Monroe, we're not sure if that was murder or suicide or what. But you're right. A lot of these people, you think they have it all.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how Robert Kennedy was pulled over in L.A. at that time.
Yeah,
I know.
That's a whole nother story.
That's a show in itself.
We may never know, really, on that one.
The whole conspiracy thing, mafia thing, or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. But anyways.
Thank you for calling.
Okay, well, anyways, y'all have a good evening.
You too.
Great. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Mr. Pizuela, how are we doing on time? A few minutes?
About 4 minutes.
Okay, we could take maybe another call here. Hello there, you're on the air. Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
All right.
Hey, sorry about that. I was watching Condoleezza on the other channel.
Oh, like Kim flipping back and forth.
Yeah. Did you ever watch her whenever she gives a talk, how she shakes her head no from side to side? I mean, she shakes her head no.
Never noticed
The
that.
whole time while she's talking?
Yeah, right. Not all the time, but you know, I'd say 75% of the time. That's body language right there.
Like she's lying?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They're all liars. I think
They are all liars, you're right.
I think the administration gives a course in lying. And I really do. I mean, George Bush, I mean, he's the ultimate liar. How can anybody take him at his word anymore?
Well, nobody can, except the people who got their nose up his butt.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I mean, he's lied about the worst thing that any person could ever lie about, taking our country into war.
Yep.
And how can anybody believe anything that the guy says?
People do. People still believe that Iraq caused 9/11.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of...
Well,
I mean, he's the president who cried wolf.
In his speech last night, he mentioned 9/11 at least one time.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe more than once. I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention, but I know he said it at least one time. But here's what I think what should be done. You know, I think he should be impeached.
I agree.
He should be brought before the International Court.
I agree.
War criminal. He should be impeached. But it's not going to happen because it's going to take too much time. But here's what I think should be done as far as impeachment. Impeach Cheney.
Both of them. It needs to be a double duo.
Oh, no, you can't do that. I don't think you can do that. I think you got to, I don't think it'd be possible to do it. You'd have to do one at a time.
Well, one at a time, but...
Right, but what I'm saying is...
Cheney's probably the more dangerous of the two. I mean, he probably gets George to do all sorts of things.
You know, Pelosi would be the president.
He's the president.
Pelosi would be the president.
Yeah, he's the puppet master.
Yeah.
But as far as Cheney goes, if you impeach Cheney first, okay, Cheney gets kicked out, kicked to the curb, then Nancy Pelosi's next in line after Shrub.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So then you go after Shrub. Okay, well, all I'm saying is impeachment's going to take a long time. How long did Clinton take? Over a year, right?
A while, but I think that's not a reason not to do it. Even if he's out of office, they can continue.
Right. What I'm
prosecuting the man.
Do Cheney first, impeach Cheney first, and then if there's enough time left, go after Shrub or Busto. Spanish for shrub. Probably know that, right?
Right.
That was his first company.
That's right. Because it's Spanish for shrubs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, he's a pea brain as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I don't give him that much credit. You must like him.
I mean, I don't see how anybody can believe anything he says. I'll let you guys go.
Okay, well, enjoy talking with you.
But the good work.
All right.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. We have a minute to sum it up, really. It goes fast, doesn't it, Bob?
Actually, it does.
I appreciate you coming on because he was working, so like you said, like right before you came on the air here.
Right.
Jesus, but this got you stimulated.
It did.
I know, talking about everything just kind of makes your blood boil.
I think you had some good callers tonight.
Yeah,
some
we
very
did.
good callers.
We certainly did, except for a couple cranks, but overall, no, we definitely.
Yeah.
I was in Publix one day. We're not advertising. I'm just saying where I was. 2 people stopped me. Are you the lady on the air? Are you the lady on the public access show?
10 seconds.
So keep watching and keep political and keep watching Femme Forum and all that jazz.
And don't let the bastards beat you.
That's right. Always ask questions.
Public access is an extension of our First Amendment right of free speech. Community members like you produce the programs on this channel and are solely responsible for content.
My children were not excelling in a public school the way I knew they could. they weren't being challenged, and I couldn't afford a private school. I was frustrated and desperate for an alternative.
Your income should never limit your child's future. Florida Pride scholarships allow you to choose the right school for your child. Qualifying is simple, and your child can start next year at the school you choose. If you're ready for a change in your child's education, call or visit our website now for an application. Every child deserves a second chance at a...
The following program may contain language and subject matter unsuitable for children. Parental discretion is advised.